Cool.
All right, guys, we're back again. This week we're going to be doing the Phantom Troupe. We're going to be rating them based on what they've done up until this point because later on in the show they do some things, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, anything to add?
Yeah, it's the Phantom Troupe, I think, is one of the cooler like sets of villains. I think different anime have villain groups that
Hmm.
appear sometimes, like maybe the League of Villains from My Hero, or I think like I'm not a Naruto guy, but like the Akatsuki or something like that.
Akatsuki, yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So I think the Phantom Troupe is one of the cooler ones
okay, yeah, I think the Akatsuki's cooler personally, but these are second for me.
for sure.
So yeah, let's just get into it with first up, Bolanov, Bolon.
Bonolanov.
Baloninoff, whatever his name is, the mummy guy
Yeah,
with holes inside of him.
yeah.
What do you think about him?
Um, he he doesn't really do anything.
No,
He, I think, okay, we should be able to talk about what they do in the Chimera Ant arc,
that's fine.
just because yeah,
That's the only
this
time
is
he has
the
to
only
do
time that Bonolanov does anything. Um, he shows his attack. It's like very basic.
it. Hmm.
Um, yeah, he seems just like D tier maybe.
Yeah, I put him D tier. His whole thing is like in the Chimera Ant arc, they show like how he fights, and he has like holes all over his body. And it's like a tribal thing where he like whistles through the holes basically, and does like a like type of chant thing, and that's how he gets his powers. But yeah, it was like all right. I would put him D because that's the only thing I remember. Just him showing us that. Got
Yeah,
anything else to say? Yeah.
I think his attack is called like Falling Jupiter or something. He creates like
Oh.
a planet
Oh.
with his body holes, but
Yeah.
yeah, very
Yeah. And then so we'll just move on. Next up we have Franklin, correct?
Mhm.
Franklin. A pretty interesting name for a character.
Yeah, Franklin, his Nen thing is cool. How he like, drops his fingers and just fires bullets.
Hmm.
He doesn't do much. He is one of the people who is like around, out and about during the Phantom Troop arc.
Hmm.
He's not one of the like few that just stay home for the most part. So he's
Yeah.
around, but he doesn't seem to be particularly powerful or anything like that, compared to the rest of them, at least. He seems to, be a staple of the Phantom Troop. Like I can't say for sure, but I think he was one of the founding members,
Oh.
and yeah, he's like one of the okay ones, decent maybe. I'll say like top of C or B maybe, top of C, bottom of B.
I think I'd put him more in C. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he's even a Phantom Troop member because, like, I mean, yeah, he seems strong, but like, I guess he doesn't really seem that strong or like that like unique. Like at least this guy has like a whole like unique thing where he's like a special, I don't know what you'd
Yeah,
call it, a special combat style. But this guy's just kind of like he fires bullets from his fingers. I don't remember him really doing much else. But
I
yeah,
don't
you're
think he
right. He
does.
is there for a lot of it. So I don't know. He's
Yeah,
he's he's decent. I think he's fine. I don't dislike him.
I think he
Yeah,
speaks up a few times
he does
when
speak.
they're
Yeah.
sort of bickering.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Whereas this guy is just always quiet. I don't think I've ever heard this guy's voice other than when he was fighting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, he says like one line when they get to the Queen Ant's chamber. Like Finks is like I'm next, and then Bonolanov's like no me,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. That's it. So yeah, I'm happy with this. Next up, name
Cortopi.
or Topi. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, Cortopi is also one of the just kind of silent ones that barely does anything
Yeah.
in the Phantom Troop or the York New City arc, I guess. I don't know what their pronouns are. Um, they uh, are the ones who copy things, like that's their ability.
Hmm.
Uh, and they copy like the Phantom Troop's dead bodies, uh, so as to make it seem like they're dead. Um, Beyond that, yeah, does pretty much nothing. Real quick, are you okay with talking about manga spoilers, or think we
I'm
should
fine
stick
with
with
that.
anime.
I'm fine with that. Warning though, we are going to talk about manga spoilers here.
Warning, manga spoilers. Cortopia is one of the ones that Hisoka straight murks.
Okay, I do
Um,
know that.
yeah, so Cortopia is not very relevant. Yeah, they copy some things and then they die. So like bottom of C or top of D.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Bottom of C. I think their net ability is pretty like, unique and helpful, but I feel like that's the only reason that they're even a part of the Phantom Troop. Like, I think that Cruella was just like, this guy will be useful. Let's just join him. Because every time I look at this guy, I just get reminded of like a moth, and that's all
Yeah,
I can like associate him with. I don't really have much else to say about the guy. But yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Maki. Maki. Is that what you
Machi.
say? Machi? Yeah, Machi. What do you think about Machi?
I like Machi a lot. I think Machi has a lot of fans because she's like
A wife?
debatably the hottest, yeah, Phantom Troop member.
Uh-huh.
Um, but she's like the contact with Hisoka in the Phantom Troop, which I
Yeah.
don't know how that started. I
Me.
don't know why.
They never really
Like,
explained it. Maybe like they talk about it in the manga, but
yeah, or maybe they fought at some point and then, uh, or maybe it's in the movies too.
maybe they have
Uh,
like a romantic. Do they have a romantic relationship at all?
I think Hisoka like says, "Hey, you want to come spend the night with me?" At the end
Mhm.
of Heaven's Arena arc, and she says no.
Oh, okay.
And I think
Because
that's the extent.
what I was thinking was like maybe like in the manga they had like relationship, but that was them like kind of showing it in the anime.
Mm,
But again, I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
who knows? Regardless, Machi's cool, and I also really like her Nen,
Mhm.
the like strings that she uses.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's very cool, and she's also very no nonsense. Uh, yeah, she's sort of just like the basic like tough guy mentality that
Yeah.
like is very befitting of the Phantom Troop. If there's one thing I'd like to highlight, I really like the scene where Killua, uh, it's right when Gon and Killua are escaping from the Phantom Troop,
Hmm.
and Killua's like, "Dang, I'm just gonna have to kill Machi."
Yeah.
Uh, this guy too confident, and he goes in with his claw and tries to like just rip her heart out or whatever, and her freaking abs like just close in on his hand. Um, that was just a real like fun moment for like scaling, and I just thought it was sort
Yeah.
of funny. But yeah, I like Machi a lot. I think like B or yeah, B.
I think B's fitting as well. I think she's a just a cool character all around, but not super complex to where I would put her anywhere higher than that. Just yeah, cool character. Next up we have Nobunaga.
Mhm.
Yeah, what do you think about him?
Um, Nobunaga is one of the ones who like talks a good amount throughout the
Okay.
Phantom Troop or the
Okay.
York New City arc. He
Mhm.
definitely has his whole thing with like him and Uvolgin being super good buds, and so when Uvolgin dies,
Yeah. Bummer.
Nobunaga is heartbroken, and I think Nobunaga serves as a good tool in the arc because he points out how similar Gon and Uvolgin are. Basically says that Gon reminds him of Uvolgin.
Hmm.
And this is, I think, the start of like, oh, wait, like, I think there's something to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, so for that purpose, he's cool. I didn't find his like Nen abilities, if there even were any, that
No.
interesting. I think he just has a sword.
Yeah, that's all I
Um,
remember him fighting with the sword.
yeah, uh, he's pretty but like I don't know, somewhere in between Franklin and Machi, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd put him towards the end of B just because I feel like he's a very intelligent character, and he did give us insight into more of like the stuff we're gonna be seeing with Gon, by comparing him to U- Uvolgin. Uvolgin, yeah. So yeah, I think he was a cool character, and I feel like he was the most what's the word? Like relatable in the Phantom Troop. Like all these other guys are pretty like intimidating and crazy, but this guy was like a more realistic character and like a lot more approachable in my opinion. So I liked him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next up we have Kaluto,
Mm-hmm.
Zoldyck actually, Kila's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Um, I think okay. I think Kaluto is Kilo's brother. Um,
Is this a boy?
Uh, I'm gonna, yeah,
Really?
Kaluto's a Kaluto's a boy. Yeah, he
Oh.
dresses very, you know.
But what about the other sibling? Is that a boy or a girl?
Alika is a girl.
Okay, okay. Really? I didn't know that Kaluto was a girl. Interest or a boy. Interesting.
Yeah,
He. My apologies, Kaluto.
for sure. Yeah, I think Kaluto is cool. But really, like the least fleshed out of the Zoldycks. Um,
Yeah.
he seemed like a mama's boy at certain points, at least in the door opening arc,
Yeah.
and uh, in the fan or the Chimera Ant arc, which is when Kaluto joins the Phantom Troupe. I mean, I think the episode is interesting because we slightly focus on Kaluto, because I guess it's interesting in that Kaluto is, despite being very powerful, is a new member of this Phantom Troop, and uh, he like serves to scale the others. Like he's like, dang, all of these guys are like so much more powerful than me.
Yeah.
Um, Regardless, I'm not feeling Kaluto too hard. I would say anywhere above Franklin, but below Machi.
I would probably put him at leading C. I think, like you said, he didn't really spend too much time with the Phantom Troop. And even when he was just like with the family, he didn't do too much. He just kind of was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like you said, he serves as a really good power scaling. Just yeah, a scale for the Phantom Troop because I think if I remember correctly, they're all fighting like an opponent. And once he's finally finished, he meets back up with them. They've all like been done for a while, and he's like, "Wow, like these guys are so crazy powerful. It took me all this time, and they've been done." So nothing too crazy. Strong, but not nearly as strong as the others. But decent character. Yeah. Next up, I think my personal waifu of the Phantom Troupe, Shizuku.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, by
If,
surprise, though, I will say, but by surprise.
yeah, I think Shizuku is only popular because like waifu bait.
Really?
Um, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Continue.
I was gonna say I don't know, but no, I do think so. Um, she's like the ditzy one of the Phantom Troop.
Okay.
Um, which I guess if you like that personality like trait, I think that's funny,
Yeah.
or just like it for whatever reason, that's
Yeah.
okay. But I personally didn't. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, and then like she has that scene that the screenshot is from
Yeah.
in the Chimera Ant arc where like she has an excuse to like take her clothes off.
They definitely were stretching for that. I want
They
to
were
add.
stretching 100%.
Like when it happened, I was kind of like, okay, this was definitely this was their
Yeah.
goal.
Um, and yeah, she's, one of the ones who's definitely around throughout the Phantom Troop arc, but I don't think she does really much. She arm wrestles Gon
Yeah.
and then she forgets. Um, yeah, I would personally say like below Nobunaga.
It's still in B though, or
Yeah.
I would agree. I mean, I liked her, but I think the biggest appeal isn't really her, it's her Nen ability. I think it's one of like the more unique
Mm,
cool ones. She has like a
yeah.
whole vacuum thing, which
She
can
has
just
that
suck
blicky.
things up. So that's cool, but yeah, I think that's all really we can say about her.
Yeah,
Um,
she does deserve some points for her, vacuum, but also giving one of the few female Phantom Troop members a vacuum as her. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Just
it
spitballing
is a
here.
bit questionable. I'll add that, and she can sew as well, Machi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Wait, sewing
maybe
needles and a vacuum cleaner.
yeah, maybe we weren't covering something right now, but
Okay, okay.
regardless, not our fault. Yeah, next up, our final female member of the Phantom Troop. What was her name again?
Gonota.
There we go. What do you think about her?
I think I think she's the coolest of the women in the Phantom Troop. Um, I think yeah, she's the sort of emotional backbone of the final few episodes of the York New City arc
Yeah,
because it's like, she thinks that it's worth it to, make this trade with Kurapika and save Krollo's life, even if she knows that that's not like the Phantom Troop way. Um, which I don't know, it was humanizing. And obviously there's like a lot to be said about what Gon says about like how can these people care about others and kill a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, she was the one who I think was more humanizing. I think her Nen ability is pretty cool. It's not like super useful in combat, but just like an interesting ability for sure. And yeah, I would place her either at the top of B or the bottom of A.
I would put her at the bottom of A, to be honest. I think, like you said, she helps humanize the Phantom Troupe and kind of shows that like these characters aren't so one-dimensional. Like, yes, they are a part of the Phantom Troupe, with the Troupe, which is like this like villainous organization which like causes harm to people, but they can still care for each other, and there can be kind of like a bond between them, which I think for a lot of people they can only see it one way, and I think her showing it that they can have a range of emotions and feelings is definitely a good thing for the show. I think she was a great character, and she dies, I believe, at the end of the arc, correct? Which I
Mm-hmm.
think leads to a lot of like emotion amongst the Phantom Troupe. I think especially Nobunaga, he took it pretty rough, which I think I remember that scene being pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, Finks. What do you think of
Yeah.
Finks?
Finks is cool. Yeah, I think he's a cool guy.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I really like his net ability. He just winds up, and the more he winds up, the more powerful.
Yeah.
It's really cool in my opinion. He also, I mean, I think his personality is maybe similar to Machi in that he's sort of just like a tough guy in the Phantom
Yeah.
Troupe. But he does have this one humanizing moment at the end of the Phantom Troupe episode in the Chimera Ant arc, where he is like, and he says something sad like, "Oh, what are we gonna do without our, leader?"
Yeah.
And then he gets made fun of by the other ones, but it was a humanizing moment, I think, and combine that with like a very cool design and a cool net ability. I think anywhere above Machi, but I'd say probably below Pakunoda.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I'd put him on a similar, yeah, in a similar spot to Pakunoda. I think Finks' design is really cool. I think he's like a really cool character. He's just like a baller. Like I don't know what it is about his character, to be honest. He's just so like nonchalant and like chill, I guess. I don't know. He was a cool character, and I wish we had saw him more, to be honest. I think we saw like a glimpse of like an emotional side at the end of that Chimera Ant arc episode, which was cool, but I would have liked to have seen more. His ability is cool as well, but yeah, I think a strong character, one that I think if we had seen more of would be an S for me, but I think as for what we've seen, I'm happy with just putting him there. Nay.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So next up, Uvolgin.
Yeah, yeah. I think Uvolgin is a super great introduction to the Phantom Troop because he's the one that we sort of see first.
Yeah.
He has just a lot of great moments. When first off he like tanks all of those mafia members, which isn't too crazy, right? Because like they're normal people, and the way that like the Hunter x Hunter verse is like, it seems like if you don't know Nen, you just get immediately tanked by anyone who does. So that
Yeah.
wasn't too surprising. But what is surprising is when he just like splurts all over the shadow beasts.
Yeah. He marks.
Yeah, who are like talked up like moments before to be, the most powerful people the mafia have on retainer.
Mhm.
Um, so, and then his fight with Kurapika is just one of the highlights of the arc for sure. He gets totally owned, which is just so surprising because he's, shown himself to be so powerful, and he just looks, come on.
Yeah, massive.
He's got those gains.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the end, he decides to just die instead of give up anything about the Phantom Troop because, Kurapika has the chain to his heart, and he
Mhm.
still decides to just die. Uh, yeah, I think he was great character, great introduction to the Phantom Troop, top of A for me.
I agree. I love Divulgent. I think the way they did that whole thing was really like really really well done. Because they show him just destroying everyone. Then they hype up the Shadow Beast. The Shadow Beast pull up. He destroys them, and then Kurapika comes and he gets destroyed by Kurapika. So I just think that whole like step to get to like the fight with Kurapika was just amazingly done. And I think that his fight with Kurapika was probably the coolest part, or my favorite part at least, in like till that point. And the fact that he doesn't rat them out at the end was great. I feel like they could have done him differently, like more of like a meathead, like just strong guy. And I'm really glad that they didn't and they added like loyalty to him, you know, like more
Mhm.
interesting character traits. I think yeah, he was a great character all around. Really well done. Great
Yeah,
job.
you bring up that point, and it would have been so easy to make to drive home this point and make Volgan just be like, wah, wah, like here's their location, meh, meh,
Exactly.
meh. Then it'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, like in some sense that might be the easy thing to do because it really shows that Karapka like owned him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they retain that part of his character, or make that a part of his character, which
Yeah.
ups him in my eyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes him deserve that point.
Yeah. Honestly, up until that point, I was just kind of like, okay, this guy's cool, he's strong. And then yeah, them just showing that, like adding that depth to him really made the character like it really completed him for me. So yeah, strong character. Next up, Hisoka. One we've talked about before, but
Yeah,
he's a part of the Phantom Troupe, so we felt like we should add him.
yeah. I mean, Hisoka is everywhere, wherever powerful people are, I guess, except
Yeah,
for the Chimera arc. But um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, Hisoka's a great character for all the reasons that we've said before. In the Phantom Troop arc, um, he serves as the mole, I guess, in the Phantom Troop
yeah.
to Kurapika. Uh, I think it's some of those text conversations are funny, and it's funny how they meet up. There's specific like I don't know exactly which text it is, but when Hisoka is texting in this arc, he drops a little emoji with the star and the like little tear,
Yeah,
and I that's just funny. And yeah, I mean Hisoka's Hisoka. Like throughout all of Hunter x Hunter, he deserves like an S for just being himself, but
yeah,
also uh, I don't know how to rank him as a Phantom Troop member because he's really like kind of a fake Phantom Troop member.
yeah,
I think any really I could accept anywhere above Machi, literally anywhere above Machi would make sense, just depending on how much we're rating him as a total character or as a like Phantom Troop member.
yeah. I think let's just rate him as an overall character, and for that, I think he just deserves an S. He's one of the better characters in the entire show. One of the best, I think. Yeah, there's really not much else I can say that we haven't said before. So yeah, moving on, we have Xiaomar. Yeah, what
Yeah.
do you think?
Shalnar, he's cool. He's slightly the brains of the Phantom Troop,
Yeah,
or he sort of
right.
acts like that sometimes.
Yeah.
He
While
like tells
still
people
being,
to.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
He while still being kind of like dumb, like a ditzy, you know?
Yeah, yeah. His Nen ability is to literally go Super Saiyan, which is I don't know, just funny. His Nen ability is weird though. Like throwing that thing in someone,
Yeah,
being able to control them on his phone. First off, how does he use his phone to control a person's whole body? Like even a video game controller only like your aim and
I
like
don't know.
how
I'm
you
just
move.
thinking like it's more of
Oh
like a
yeah,
mental thing. Like
Neuralink.
he just uses his mind, and then like he has like a physical thing that he's created with his Nen ability to like I don't know.
But
It
he
is kind
still
of weird.
does press those buttons though,
Yeah,
and I don't know, it's weird.
maybe it's helping like get into it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Regardless, I mean, yeah, he's okay. He's around a lot.
Mhm.
I do like that he's in this group of like cold-blooded killers. He's sort of the rational one sometimes. Like I just think there's a point towards the end of the arc where they're sort of arguing, and Shalnark's like, "All right, like, come on, let's get it together. Like, think
Mhm.
about like what the boss would want us to do."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think bottom of A maybe, or I could understand if you want to put him lower.
Actually, yeah, no, I'm happy about Neve. I really like Chalnar. I think he has kind of like an innocence to him that reminds me in some way of like Gon. And
Mhm.
that's really cool to see with like all these like crazy killers around. So that whole dynamic's fun. Yeah, his net ability is cool. Design's cool. Nothing that I dislike about him, just nothing too crazy that I would want to put him any higher. Yeah. Next up we have Phaeton. Phaeton. What do you think about him?
So I know I roasted the ever loving shit out of you for liking Shizuku, like for sort of her design or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's totally me with Phaeton. Like
No, I
I think
agree.
Phaeton is such a cool design and
Uh-huh.
such a cool net ability too. I think his pain packer,
Yeah.
like the more that he gets hurt, the more powerful this thing is.
Mhm.
He's also like the member of the Phantom Troupe who like tortures people, which
Yeah.
I don't particularly like that, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, mostly I would just say I really like his design. I really like his net ability. And his sort of like reserved demeanor is it's a cool, I guess that just goes towards his aesthetic. It's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I would understand if you don't think he deserves like what I would think, which is like top of A, or maybe even higher,
Mhm.
because he's just not super present throughout the arc.
Yeah.
But I think I think that's where I feel he deserves to be in my heart of hearts.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I would just put him straight in S. I don't have any reason other than what you said. I just love his design. His net ability is crazy cool. But like we never really get to see much of like what his character is like. He's just kind of reserved through the whole time. We don't get too much dialogue from him compared to like some of the other ones, I guess. Like obviously Hisoka. I just for some reason really liked his design, was really drawn to his character, and I loved him. I don't know. I really can't say much else. I think reasonably we should put him just leading A. I don't
Yeah,
think he should have an S, considering we haven't really had much like interaction with him as a character, you know?
yeah,
So yeah. And then to finish us off, we have the leader of the Phantom Troop, Crollo,
yeah. The daddy himself.
the daddy himself.
Yeah, I think Crollo, we both know, is just a very cool character.
Definitely.
You know, his Nen stealing ability is just interesting because it gives him such like versatility and it makes like fights with him very cool because he can just sort of pull out whatever he wants.
Yeah,
Um, his fight with the Zoldyx in this arc is one of just the coolest moments in Hunter x Hunter.
definitely.
Because he's 1v2ing them.
Yeah.
And then afterwards Zeno is like, yeah, you might have killed me if we were going all if you know, he says if you were going all out.
Yeah.
So Krollo was just sort of playing with the Zoldyx too, probably just to see if he could steal their abilities. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, Krollo is just a great villain. He's not a villain that like is super self subservient. Like he tells the Phantom Troop pretty much like just to let him die,
Yeah.
because the spider can like function without its head. Um, and yeah, I think he should top S. Like I don't know if I like him as a character more than Hisoka, but for this specific tier list, he deserves to be at the top.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he was a great character. It shows that like a leader of like this crazy organization can have some like I guess redeeming qualities in that one, like you said, he wasn't like super selfish and like, oh, like I matter, so like help me out. He was just kind of like, all right, like it's not all about me. It's about like the bigger picture. Like you guys can continue on once I'm dead. Like I'm not the Phantom Troop. All of us collectively are the Phantom Troop, which I thought was really cool. And then again, like you said, the fight with the Zoldyx was also amazing and shows that like he's not all about like at least I took it this way, he's not all for like blood. Like, you know, like he doesn't want to just kill people randomly. He just also kind of appreciates fighting in a way like similar to Hisoka, but not to the degree that Hisoka gets off to it. Yeah, and his character design was really cool. Yeah, just a great character all around, a great um big antagonist. I wouldn't say like the antagonist, but yeah, one of the bigger ones. But yeah,
One more thing I'll add to Krollo. Flag for manga spoilers,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he murks Hisoka when they finally fight.
Yeah,
He
bad.
literally kills Hisoka
Yeah.
when they finally fight.
Yes.
Yeah, which I mean, Hisoka has only shown himself to be powerful,
Hmm.
and I think the only loss he has is against Crollo. So
Yes.
yeah, and then one other thing, I was thinking more, and I would be down to move Finks up a little bit, just
Yeah.
because of the scene after the arc where Gon and Kilo go to the auction, and they see Phaeton and Finks, and then they run, and then they have this little conversation, and
Mhm.
Finks like gives them like the thank you from Pakunoda. Um, yeah, I think maybe that makes him move above Pakunoda. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
I'm happy with that. I loved Finks. I liked him more than Pakunoda, but just I was going off of what you were saying. But yeah, I loved Finks. One of honestly my favorites. Do you have a favorite? Do you want to add who your personal favorite is?
Um, I mean, the basic answer is Crollo because everyone loves Crollo, but
Yeah.
I think the non-basic answer would be Phaeton. Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid doing like the obvious two choices. So
yeah,
aside from the two, I would say I was gonna say Phaeton, but since you said Phaeton, I'll go with Finks. I
mhm,
really liked Finks.
yeah,
Yeah. So
uh, yeah. Also, I was thinking, so Phaeton has been said to be the inspiration for Captain Levi's design from Attack on Titan.
uh-huh.
And Levi and Finks are like a pair. Like they're together, like
Yeah.
throughout some of their times as the Phantom Troupe. And it just makes me think of Levi and Erwin. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
It is a nice dynamic that I think is somewhat replicated. Yeah, I agree. Also, yeah, he recently watched Attack on Titan, so we've been really big on that recently. And season 4 is out now, so we've been watching that. If you guys want something about Attack on Titan from us, feel free to comment it. We love talking about it, and every time we record, we just go on afterwards to talk about Attack on Titan. So
yeah.
yeah, if you have nothing else to say, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys next week with, I believe, Great Island, correct? Or next
Yeah.
time we record. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Peace.